Hey guys, glad you could stop by because I have an interesting one for you today. I wanted to talk about two communities right now that are currently under construction. I know this is something that's probably not on your radar, but it popped onto mine and I just wanted to share with a little more detail about something that I found interesting about these two communities. Now, one, you have an all black community that represent the Freedom Georgia initiative, and it's on 97 acres. It's owned by 19 black families, and we'll be listening to a little more on that from Renee Walters, their president. Now, on the other side of the coin, we have an all white community, and it's called Return to the Earth, and it sits on 160 acres in the Ozark Mountains. Now, that is rough living, trust me. I lived in the mountains, I know a little bit about that. Now, this one's more of a membership based association. We're also going to listen to a little bit on that from their president, Eric Orwell. Now, the question that I wanted to pose in this video was, what do they have in common? I mean, what are their goals? Do they have any values or anything that they seem to have in common? I mean, are they really that different? That's what I want to know. Who's doing all the work? Now, they're under construction. They're building houses. They're talking about building a village or a town or a membership-based association. Does it matter how you phrase it? How are they paying for it? I mean, are these guys legit? Are they actually out of their own pockets, their own investment? How do they get their money, or where do they intend to get it? And also, most important, how is the media reporting on it? We're on YouTube right now. I'm giving you the censored version, so if you want the full uncensored version, you can follow me over on Rumble. The link is in the description below, and let's get this party started, guys.
My name is Renee Walters, and I am the president of the Freedom Georgia Initiative. I have a black husband. I have a black son. Every time he would leave out for work or just to go to the store or anything, I would have a sense of anxiety just from watching everything that we've been going through lately with the pandemic and watching our black men being murdered on national television in front of everybody. It kind of just all shook us by storm.
What black men were killed on national TV? And it took you by storm? There is no one more detrimental to the black community than the black community. And it's your people killing your own people that you should be talking about.
It's now time for us to get our friends and family together and build for ourselves.
When real estate agent Ashley Scott and investor Renee Walters came across the opportunity to purchase land in Toomsboro, Georgia, they saw more than just property for sale. They envisioned a sanctuary for black families.
A sanctuary for black people? Seems like they're the last person you want to put in charge of creating a sanctuary space for anybody, considering the fact that they can solve all their own problems around the dinner table before they bring their problems to the woods, because they are the problem. And the only way to have a sanctuary place for them, a safe place, is to have white people police them.
A tangible manifestation of the social justice and unity they had long advocated. For $1,700,000, they could transform a 97-acre plot into a thriving community that prioritized safety, empowerment, and cultural solidarity.
Fantasy can be fun. I don't understand why they need so much money. I mean, considering they're the people who built this country, why can't they develop that land for a lot less? I mean, you think they could if they'd roll up their own sleeves, but what they want to do is sit back and write checks. They're going to have white contractors come in and do all the heavy lifting because they want to get the job done right.
This ambitious endeavor, known as the Freedom Georgia Initiative, has since captured national attention, sparking conversations about self-determination, collective resilience, and the complexities of building a new community. For both Scott and Walters, the vision for freedom was born out of deep personal concerns. We both have black husbands. We both have black sons. And I was starting to get overwhelmed with anxiety whenever my husband left the house for work.
Then maybe you should move to a white neighborhood. But then again, if you did, everybody else would have that same concern because you would be the one bringing that problem there. And until you figure that one out, you're always going to have these problems.
Walters explained. Against the backdrop of heightened racial tensions and nationwide protests against systemic injustice,
heightened racial tension and systemic injustice? Translation: we should have a right to loot and rob and pillage our neighborhoods. Please.
They sought a proactive solution. What can we do?
Go back to Africa,
Walters asked herself. Then came a viral post about Toomsboro being up for sale. Although the entire town wasn't actually available, the uninhabited acreage surrounding it was. To Scott and Walters, this was the perfect opportunity to create a safe haven.
It was a perfect opportunity to create a safe haven. You notice a light, friendly, perfect words that they're using to describe this Disney-esque version of Wakanda that these guys have envisioned, when you know damn well they're going to find some way to bleed money out of the state in order to cover the expenses because they build nothing.
A modern-day Black Wall Street that could foster unity, innovation, and economic empowerment. Under the Freedom Georgia Initiative, 19 black families joined forces to purchase the land. Their goal was not only to build homes, but also to cultivate a village where black families and their allies could thrive. For Scott, the mission was deeply personal.
It's interesting here that the narrator would take the liberty to speak for them and give a nice clean breakdown as to why they want to move there, instead of putting the camera on them and let them explain it in their own way, which would be telling the truth, that they don't want white people there.
We needed to create a space and a place where we could be a village again, a tribe again. We wanted to create this safe space where we can address our own issues and concerns. Freedom, as the land is now called, is envisioned as a self-sustaining community prioritizing safety, cultural pride, and economic growth.
How are you going to do that? Build it and then rent it to white people?
While the initial purchase included an impressive array of amenities, such as an opera house, a school, a restaurant, and a gas station, the families focused their efforts on developing the uninhabited surrounding land into a residential and communal hub. Despite their aspirations, creating an exclusively black city has proven to be a complex and legally fraught endeavor.
Now look at this guy rubbing his head like he's trying to work something out. That's drug withdrawal if I ever saw it. Buddy, there's a lot of math involved in building a city, and you're not quite wired for that. And you're also not wired for swimming. And if you don't believe me, just drag the Mississippi.
While the families openly expressed their desire to establish a pro-black community, they acknowledge the challenges of maintaining racial exclusivity. As Scott explained, it's impossible to have anything exclusively black because our families are integrated. We are an integrated, tolerant, and diverse community, even as black people. The founders emphasize that freedom is not about exclusion, but about fostering a space that uplifts and centers black culture and values. They welcome individuals who align with their mission, regardless of race, as long as they share the community's goals and beliefs. However, achieving their vision requires navigating legal and constitutional barriers, including the U.S. Constitution's freedom of movement and prohibits discrimination, which guarantees freedom of movement and prohibits discrimination. To become an officially recognized city, Freedom must meet certain legal requirements and refrain from policies that could be perceived as discriminatory. This includes adhering to federal and state regulations that ensure equal access and non-discrimination. A single lawsuit challenging the city's practices could derail its progress, posing a significant economic threat. One potential workaround would involve foregoing state and federal resources, such as public schooling, postal services, and government grants. However, such a move would significantly hinder the community's ability to provide essential services and infrastructure, especially in its early stages. The trade-off between autonomy and access to resources remains a central challenge for the founders. The Freedom Georgia Initiative's vision extends beyond land ownership. The founders have called on Congress to provide reparations for Black Americans, arguing that financial restitution is necessary to address historical injustices and systemic inequities.
But I thought they built this country, and they can't muster enough talent amongst their community to build a small village without crying racism and trying to get reparation or trying to bleed the state dry of taxpayer funds to build Wakanda? It's because they can't, because they build nothing. They contribute nothing.
Through their Facebook page and other platforms, they advocate for reparations as a means to support initiatives like theirs and to empower Black communities across the country. While the group is optimistic about their long-term sustainability, they acknowledge the need for external support to fully realize their vision.
So they don't need white people. They need their own space until they realize that they're not smart enough to build a village, and they come crawling to the white man, hat in hand. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll do what you tell me, sir. Just give me more money. There's a difference between building something and extorting money from white families to cover the tab.
From infrastructure development to community programs, the initiative's success will depend on a combination of grassroots efforts, private investments, and potential government assistance.
I like how they try to put a spin on that last third of a statement by making it look like they're going to raise money by grassroots effort and private investment. They use a lot of big words that a lot of these can't even spell, when really, you know what they're talking about. They're talking about public assistance, building the whole damn thing. They kind of, honestly, they sound like they're already broke. And I feel nothing.
The Freedom Georgia Initiative is not the first attempt to create a self-sustaining Black community.
So Wakanda starts as a tailgating party in the woods. They're going to go from that little tent city to this, when we know damn well, in 12 months, they're going to end up with this.
Historically, Black Americans have established prosperous enclaves, often in response to systemic exclusion and racial violence. These communities exemplify the resilience and ingenuity of Black Americans in creating opportunities despite systemic barriers.
You mean like actually working for it and earning your way?
However, they also highlight the challenges of sustaining such spaces in the face of external hostility and economic pressures.
We are the buying power. If we can just teach each other to circulate our dollars within the community, we will solve our own problems. We are literally the answer to our own problems.
And the cause.
But we have to change our thinking and come together. That's the only way we'll be safe. That's the only way that this will work. We have to start bringing each other together.
Now to a story in the Ozarks that's been making headlines nationwide. There's a relatively new whites-only community in northeast Arkansas.
So take a look. It's a 160-acre property near the town of Ravenden. It's a private membership association called Return to the Land. And there are families that are living there now and more homes going up.
So these guys get a scandalous spot on ABC News while the Black families that are doing the exact same thing in Freedom, Georgia, get a nice little fluff piece from Yahoo. It's such a courageous thing they're doing, but look at what a scandalous thing it is over here when a white man does it.
There are Black people who want Black communities, Jewish people who want Jewish communities, and there are white people who want white communities. And in the past, that's how this country was. So we're trying to preserve that.
So tonight we're hearing from the co-founder of Return to the Land and from a longtime Arkansas civil rights attorney about this controversial new community.
Controversial new community? How is this controversial? It's like implying that this has never been done before. This is reverse racism. This is exactly what this is. White people are not allowed to have a safe space.
So if people are interested, they align with our values, they're welcome to join.
We tracked down Eric Orwell. He's the president of Return to the Land, which is now home to about 36 people.
And it's not all about are you white or not. It's also, do you share traditional European values? And also, if you want to live here with us, do you get along with us?
These are the same exact values of Freedom, Georgia. So what's the problem?
You have to get accepted to live here. There's an application process, including a questionnaire and an interview with the Board of Trustees. How would you defend what you do here?
How does he defend that? That's a loaded question. How come they didn't ask those blacks over in Freedom, Georgia to defend anything? It was such a courageous endeavor, wasn't it? But if you're white, you gotta defend yourself. And that's bullshit.
We're not trying to oppress any other group. In fact, we would want to help other groups also have their own spaces if that's what they want.
Do you understand why some people, though, might see what you're doing as racism?
If those niggers in Georgia can do it, then he can do it. Fuck off.
Sure, of course, but I also don't know exactly what racism is. The concept has shifted over the years. If racism is hating other groups of people, I would say we're not racist. If racism is valuing your racial heritage and wanting to perpetuate it, well then by that definition, yeah, we're racist.
Butch Dale lives in nearby Ravendon. He's a city council member and the fire chief. He says he's not bothered by it.
We live in a free country. I think they have a right to support their views the way they want to. Of course, we all have our different views.
Arkansas civil rights attorney Austin Porter Jr. says what they're doing is against the law.
Wake up, white America. This is anti-white hatred. The only difference between this white family and those blacks in Georgia is the white folks are actually smart enough to build a city. The blacks, they can't do anything without a handout because they built nothing. They contribute nothing.
It violates the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause. It violates 42 U.S.C. Section 1982 of the Civil Rights Act because those laws say that anybody enjoy the same rights to own, sell, possess land as enjoyed by white citizens.
As enjoyed by white citizens? I'm pretty sure the law doesn't read that way.
Orwell and the Return to the Land official website both say the community is a private club and therefore exempt from Title II of the Civil Rights Act on public accommodations. That would have to be tested in court.
In order for there to be a case, a lawsuit, there has to be some kind of what's called a case of controversy.
So where they screwed up in Freedom, Georgia is they actually said that they were going to build a town, to build a community, but these guys have an exclusive club. There's different language involved, and it goes to show you the black brain. It's just not as witted as Brandon Tatum would say as you'd think it would be. So I say pick up the phone and try to buy some property in Freedom, Georgia, and if they give you a hard time, get their ass in front of a judge.
Someone tried to obtain ownership or someone tried to live in that particular area, they were denied. And at that point, then a lawsuit can be brought.
Is there something that you have against people of other ethnicities?
It's interesting that they're being so hard on this guy and no one asked a question like that to the black folks in Freedom, Georgia. I don't know why this guy invited ABC up there to interview him. He had to have seen this coming a mile away. I mean, I guess it's one way of getting the word out or whatever, but he just opened the can of worms. I mean, I wish him the best of luck, but I mean, damn, I don't think he thought this one out.
No, we are for European heritage. That's our history. That's where we come from. We want to perpetuate that. I think that's very natural. I think all life basically wants to perpetuate what it is, so we're trying to do that.
Is it because you're honoring your ancestry, or is it because you think your ancestry is better than another?
Well, it's mine, and obviously I have a preference for it, but I wouldn't say that it's superior to others in all respects. I think in general, societies get along better when people are more similar. The more dissimilar people are in a society, the harder it is to understand each other. And if you can't understand each other, you can't exactly predict what everyone's going to do. And if you can't predict what they're going to do, it's harder to trust them. And so multiracial, multicultural societies end up being lower trust, and people become less sociable.
America, though, it's a melting pot, right? It's kind of built on the fact that, you know, people of different religious backgrounds and races and ethnicities have come together and existed and coexisted.
America may have been a melting pot back in the days when people who were migrating here from largely European countries, because we already had cultural similarities and they were easier to assimilate. But this trash that they're pushing for is something else. It's people flooding in from countries that do not want to mix. They don't want to assimilate. They want to conquer and destroy.
That's not what it was built on. It was built by white Europeans for white Europeans.
So Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin's office would not comment, confirming only that they are investigating if any laws are being broken.
Meanwhile, Arkansas Governor Sarah Sanders released this statement saying, quote, Governor Sanders condemns discrimination and racism of any kind and is confident in the Attorney General's ability to investigate this matter.
All right, guys, this was just something I wanted to bring to your attention. It was something that Officer Brandon Tatum brought up. He didn't do his homework, so I did a little bit of it for him to bring you the full picture. Until the next one, guys, yeah, still on this one, pick up the phone to Freedom, Georgia. Try to buy some land. Keep your head on the swivel. Stay out of trouble. And until the next one, we'll holler at you later.